Ma'am, you are mute.
Hello and welcome to this Friday weekly webinar. Today to talk about necessity of sports for health, we have with us Dr. H. Sreedharan sir, who is sports scientist and CEO of Asha Wellness and former head High Performance Center TransIndia. I heartily welcome you, sir.
Namaskar.
We also have Director of Morarji Desai National Institute of Yoga, Dr. Ishwar V. Basavaraddi sir with us. I heartily welcome you, sir.
नमस्कार नमस्कार वंदना
We
Namaskar.
also have Communication and Documentation Officer of MDNIY, Mohammad Tayyab Alam sir with us. I heartily welcome you, sir.
Namaskar.
Now, without any further ado, let us start the program with prayer. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. It is our great pleasure that Dr. H. Sreedharan sir is with us to talk about necessity of sports for health. I once again welcome you, sir. It is our honor that you accepted our invitation and agreed upon to deliberate such a lecture. Thank you so much. And I also welcome Director of Morarji Desai National Institute of Yoga, Dr. Ishwar V. Basavaraddi sir once again. आपका भी पुनः बहुत बहुत स्वागत है सर.
थैंक यू वंदना थैंक यू वेरी मच
I also once again welcome Mohammad Tayyab Alam sir, CNDO of MDNIY. आपका भी पुनः बहुत बहुत स्वागत है. Now I would like to request Communication and Documentation Officer of MDNIY for further proceedings. Sir, over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Vandana. Good evening, everyone. Before coming to our esteemed guest, I would like to say a few words about MDNIY's Friday webinar. Friday webinar of Morarji Desai Institute of Yoga is one of the important online activities of the institute and hugely popular in different social media platforms. Friday webinar has witnessed the talks of eminent and renowned experts of yoga, modern medicine, allied science, diet and nutrition, media, and from many other disciplines. It has been started as part of Ayush for Immunity campaign and successfully organizing since 2nd October 2020 under the dynamic leadership of Dr. Ishwar V. Basavaraddi, sir, Director Morarji Desai Institute of Yoga. Now about today's eminent speaker. Today we have with us respected S. Sreedharan sir, sports scientist and CEO, Asha Wellness, and a former head, High Performance Center, TransIndia, who will speak upon necessity of sports for health. Sreedharan sir's areas of experience include sports medicine, medical imaging, neuro rehab, corporate preventive health, school health program, telecom networking, and many more. But sir's major project experience include sports medicine, develop India's first integrated sports talent identification software, and also developed and implemented India's first human performance lab, wherein more than 5 lakh children were tested. His another wonderful projects include school health, largest school health screening and health education program in Bengaluru and Ahmedabad. More than 1 lakh children are in the program since last 5 years. One of the final projects is rehabilitation. Set up Asha Foundation, which is India's first rehab center with latest technology of EMG biofeedback. More than 3,500 children with autism have been successfully rehabilitated in the center. Sir's specializations also include corporate preventive health and telecom networking. Thank you, sir, for accepting our invitation for Friday webinar. With these few words, I would like to invite respected Dr. Ishwar V. Basavaraddi, sir, Director, Murarji Desai Institute of Yoga, to say something about today's topic. Sir.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Today's esteemed speaker of this very popular Friday webinar of the Institute, Dr. H. Sreedharan ji, eminent sports scientist and also a social activist, and my colleagues in the Institute, Shri Taya Balamji and Dr. Vandana, faculty members, student friends and yoga enthusiasts joining this webinar in different time zones from various parts of the world. My pranams to you all. So my heartings to you all also once again. I will not take much time, but today's topic and the speaker are very exciting. First of all, I will talk about the topic. There are 3 reasons to cherish or cheer up for the topic. One is fitness or health is the, or wellness. We talk about fitness, wellness, health are the prime conditions or prime topics in the entire world, not only in India. Because of 2 issues. One is the non-communicable disorders, what WHO is emphasizing on. More than 78% of the 76 to 78% of the diseases or the deaths are occurring because of the non-communicable disorders. So the second aspect is the recent pandemic condition across the globe has raised many issues regarding the health and healthcare delivery systems. Healthcare managers across the globe. It has tested our capacity in extreme conditions in 2 occasions, especially during the second wave across the globe. And third one is most importantly, the technology growth has reduced had destroyed the family structure, the social structure, and our many family establishments, wellness establishments, which in India we followed for centuries. They have been destroyed because of the advancement of the technology. So we don't have enough playgrounds, enough space, especially in the metros, to walk, to do some, to play some games, do some physical activity. There is not conducive. And the same thing about the development of the technologies, mobiles, etc. The man or individual become isolated. He become a machine addict. Earlier we are talking about different addiction. Now we become a technology addict. That has these 3 are, in my opinion, are making a huge impact on our fitness, health and wellness. all three. Therefore, we have to reinvent ourselves, our various aspect dimensions. That's why Honorable Prime Minister is emphasizing the traditional games which were very cost effective, and that brings the harmony, and also they are bringing the family structure, the society as a whole. They are building up. In this aspect, the Indian traditional game system, then the modernized physical activities and the different games, including the cricket, whatever the game may be. I'm not distinguishing, because some games are very costly. If you go to the archery or shooting or in the modern wrestling, etc., don't imagine that only as a game or sport. There are many sports which are very healthy, which are very people friendly, students friendly, cost effective, and bring in health and harmony, not only health, but also in the harmony within the individuals, harmony between mind and body, harmony in the family, in the school, in the society, and that is more important, which in turns enhance the possibilities of health and wellness in the entire generation. In this aspect today, the necessity of sports and physical education for health and well-being is the most important priorities of the nation. That's why the Khelo India, Fit India, Yoga Wellness Centers, all are taken up by Government of India to promote these aspects so that we can live healthy. And for this chosen topic, I'm very happy that my colleagues have chosen very eminent scholar, right person, Dr. Sreedharan ji, as introduced by my colleague. He is a very eminent, I found him not only a scientist, but also a social activist, because a scientist, we do research and do, but he is reaching lakhs and lakhs people, and especially the backward areas, the tribal areas. So the people deprived of the facilities, reaching them with these type of innovative ideas. The scientist job makes him as a humanitarian scientist. I call Sreedharanji a humanitarian scientist. We are happy to have you, Dr. Sreedharanji. I once again welcome you. I do hope that my spontaneous few ideas about today's topic will pave a way for you to take it further and elaborate and guide our students, faculty, and yoga enthusiasts so that they can adopt sports as part of our life and we can live healthy and happy. Thank you, one and all. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your introduction.
Namaskar. It's over to Dr. Sreedharanji.
Namaskar for everybody. Thanks for the very good introduction by Dr. Basavaraddi ji. Vandana, Dr. Vandana had spoken about my this thing. It's a very, very small in Kannada, since Basavaraddi sir understands. It's called Alilu Seve. It's a very small contribution that we are doing as a part of our contribution to the society, which I am trying to do fairly. It is moved forward. So let me get into the topic first. So I'm sharing it. Now I'm sharing the screen. Are you able to see it?
Yes, sir.
Is my screen visible?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, as Dr. Basavaraddi sir said, we in India, actually, when we go back to our history of Mahabharata, Ramayana, etc. and all, sports and health has been a part and parcel of our life. Right from a very young childhood, irrespective of wherever you are born, you need to go to a Gurukula. In the Gurukula, you need to practice certain things which is physical in nature. Then you are taught certain things which is mental in nature. And then you practice certain household activities which brings the social aspect of health in nature. So the same thing has been crystallized by WHO from the Western side and then put into a document in terms of what is health. So I look at sports and health as a same train which is necessary for all of us to proceed further, because without health, sports doesn't work. Without sports, health doesn't work. So they are two sides of the same coin, and then that is a necessity for us actually to know. So if you go back to 1945, WHO has defined health. What is health? Health has got physical health, mental health, and social health. As Sir said, the technology which has now developed is making us more and more work from home, not even work from office. At least people used to go in a cab stand sometime, do some walking within the campus. Even that now is reduced, and now it has become an issue of work from home. So less and less and less people are today talking about wanting to do something for themselves. And sports happens to be a very, very important element of everybody's life. That is what, in my last 35, 36 years of my activities, both in medicine as well as in sports, I've realized. I'll give you an example. There is a wonderful book written by Gladwell, Malcolm Gladwell, which is called Outliers. It tells you about 10 or 15, 10 stories, I think, totally. And in each one of the stories, it talks about how one can be a master in any subject by certain techniques. You can be a fantastic doctor, you can be a fantastic engineer, you can be a fantastic IT person. If you put in 10,000 hours of concentrated effort into that subject, irrespective of whatever is your IQ, irrespective of wherever you come from, if you concentrate 10,000 hours is very, very simple. It's not so complicated. If you put in 8 hours of work every day, 365 days, and into 3 years, you are talking about 10,000 hours roughly. So 3 years, if you concentrate on something, there is a likelihood that you can achieve mastery over it. And there are about 10 examples which he has given, and all those examples are real life examples which has worked. And therefore, the conclusion that comes, because I have adopted that and implemented it in my own work sphere. On an average, every year, at least 2 or 3 or 4 children come to me who are in 10th standard, 11th standard, 12th standard, and tell me, sir, I want to score more marks, I want to do this, I want to do that in the academics. So using that model, I have implemented, and I have seen that even students who are considered to be complete novices, they can't pass the exam, they have failed 2 times, 3 times. With this effort, most of them, all of them, in fact, I would use the word all very carefully because I have done that. So each and every child is able to clear the exams, and as a result of which academically they become great. But sports is one area where this cannot be implemented, because the probability of just merely practice leading to success is not there in sports. The reason why it's not there in sports is just not a physical activity. There is a mental activity involved, there is a group activity involved, which is a social activity, and therefore I believe the ideal thing which presently the Prime Minister has also implemented in the national education policy, that there is a need for us to inculcate in each of us the need for sports. I'll come to why each one of those physical, mental, and social aspect. I'll tell you how sports plays a role, and as a result of which we are able to succeed. So I believe that it's a very important element, and as a result of which the physical health, the mental health, and the social health, all the three are addressed, and as a result of which we are producing a nation which is healthy, we are producing a society which is healthy, we are producing a family which is healthy, we are producing an individual who is healthy. So all the three aspects. You may be physically fit. There are some very good players who are really physically fit, but if their mental status on that day is not good, they are under stress, or they are under some kind of a distraction, irrespective of whatever talent you have, you may not be able to succeed. Now, you will have the physical health, you will have the mental health also. You are very concentrated, you have done all your work. But on that at that point of time, because you have to work in a group, the other members of the group are not cooperating with you, probably on that day, that person's performance will be bad. So therefore, sports has got all the three elements of definition of health from a WHO perspective. Let us take each one of these concepts and try to talk about it. Now, as Sir said, one of the key aspects the world is today facing is not pathogen related diseases. Of course, corona is a pathogen related disease, but then this is a one-off case. But majority of us are struggling with diseases which are created by us. There is a very interesting saying, even God cannot help us. You know why? Because you have created the disease yourself, so God doesn't know how to treat it. Because you have created it, you have to find a solution for it. And all the diseases that we are talking about, non-communicable diseases that Sir talked about, have no solution. Presently, the allopathic system of medicine is only treating the symptom. You have a diabetes? Okay, let me control your insulin levels. Let me control your sugar levels. You have a cholesterol? Okay, let me control your cholesterol levels. Let me control it. You have an obesity? Okay, let me control your metabolism. Okay, you have a musculoskeletal disease? Okay, let me try and fix up so that your nerve doesn't give you the pain. There are no solutions to these problems. All these are permanently wedded to us. Like the husband and wife wedded for life, these diseases today are wedded for life. There are no solutions. There are no remedies for this. There are only rehabilitations available. So therefore, sports becomes a very important element in this physical health. Now, let us take each one of these small things and then try to address this. Diabetes is a very interesting thing which India happens to be one of the largest, about 7.5% of the population. I understand this is I have been told, has got type 2 diabetes across the whole country. And that number is pretty huge. If you multiply 140 crores by 7.5%, you are talking about close to around 10 crore people struggling with their life throughout their life. Now, how do you control sugar? The only way to control sugar is that you need to physically exhaust that sugar through a proper mechanism by keeping your pancreas up, by ensuring enough insulin is produced, by ensuring enough metabolism is there. So, how do you create a metabolism? The easiest methodology of creating metabolism is by physical activities, cardiovascular exercises, running, jogging, whatever it is. Cholesterol. One of the key components of cholesterol is triglycerides. So triglycerides is typically produced in the liver. Now, how do you control that? One of the mechanisms there, they say, is there is no medicine for controlling your triglycerides. The only medicine is you have to walk. You have to ensure you are stress-free. Now, obesity is again a very big this thing that we are seeing in, particularly in children, quite a lot because of the technology impact. So obesity happens to be one of the most dangerous diseases which is slowly started coming in. And primary contribution for this is the way we eat. We eat for eating sake. We have a clear-cut breakfast time, we have clear-cut lunch time, we have clear-cut dinner time, we have clear-cut, whether we are hungry or not, whether our metabolism is slow or high, whether we need or not, we all eat. But that is not nature. If you look at all other animals, whether it's a bird or an animal, they eat whatever is required for them to survive, whatever is required for them to this thing. They don't eat more than that. But because of our eating habits, and on the top of those eating habits, as it is, India is rich in ghee and sugar and things like that. But those don't contribute because those days people used to walk, people used to go from place to place walking, people used to do a lot of hard work. Today, compounded with that, you have the Western fast food like pizzas and etc. coming in. As a result of which, today we are seeing child obesity rates shooting up big time. So therefore, it's important for us to ensure that exercise is a part and parcel of the life. But then the moment I say exercise, people will frown at it. So therefore, we need to bring in the exercise in the form of sports. Musculoskeletal disease, a very, very common thing that happens to most of us during our early growth stage. Most of you know that the growth stage of any human being, pardon me, most of our, hold on one second, I have to switch off. So most of us uh, uh, have musculoskeletal issues basically due to postures, due to certain way of working, due to certain way of driving, certain way of sitting, and certain habits that we have formed over a period of time. Now, where do you get this from? You get this from today the existing system of lying down and watching a TV, keeping the mobile closer to the eye. So these are all things which are habit formation coming through technology interventions and the lifestyle interventions. So therefore, it is necessary for us to look at some physical activity which will prepare our muscles, which will prepare our musculoskeletal structure to handle these kind of, I call it as abuses. Hypertension, they're very, very serious issues today. And the easiest form of hypertension that you see is two people driving a car and one fellow overtaking the other. The other fellow is upset, he starts shouting, this fellow starts shouting. It's the starting point of an hypertension. That's how people start getting into fights, getting into anger. In fact, Bhagavad Gita very beautifully says, Sangat sanjayate kamaha kamat krodho bijayate krodhat bhavati sammoha sammoha smriti vibramaha smriti bhramshat buddhinasha buddhinashat pranashyasi. So the destruction happens through this. So therefore, it is important for us to start looking at anger management, start looking at our internal this thing. So therefore, the physical health, where the sodium component of our food, the inability to take out that sodium component because we don't exercise, we don't do regular practice exercises, results in hypertension. Then we have today a very huge business which is running in the country, which is fertility disorders. We call it as metabolic disorders. Thyroid is a common thing in all women post 35, 40. Our diabetes is also a metabolic disorder. Where does this come from? If you look at the metabolic disorders, these are primarily related to the glands. These are primarily related to your endocrine system. And that is directly linked to your physical activity as well as your mental activity. So therefore, I believe from a physical health perspective, sports plays a very, very important element, not only for sports people, it is for general public, for you and me. We have to maintain our physical body because most of our body is made out of water and muscles. And muscle of a human being has got a very bad habit called as muscular atrophy. If you don't use a muscle, it dies. So therefore, you need to regularly exercise the muscle. Yoga is the best way to do that. So therefore, we need to bring in regular exercise as a part and parcel of our life. It cannot be that I am 40, 45, then now I start realizing, oh, I have become fat, now my BMI is high, let me start walking. It doesn't help. No, you need to make it as a habit in our system. So right from childhood, like you take your bath, we brush your teeth. I think the physical health aspect has to be embedded into the system because only then it becomes a habit, and as a result of which we don't get into this thing. Today, India is struggling big time. One COVID phase one, the number of cases went up, or wave two cases went up. All the selective surgeries, whether it is a knee surgery, whether it is the heart surgery, whether it is the replacement of a kidney, all those things have to get postponed because our health system got collapsed. We don't have enough doctors, we don't have enough beds, we don't have enough this thing. We cannot afford to spend, and we are a poor country. So therefore, it is important from a GDP perspective also that we all have to maintain physical health. And the easiest way to maintain physical health is all of us have to just do some minimal physical activity. And to do that physical activity, sports provides a very beautiful environment. The reason why sports provides the environment is here it's just a small gathering of 4, 5 people playing badminton every day morning. So there is a physical activity that goes in, and then I will use the same analogy and I will talk to you about how it brings about social activity, how it brings about mental activity. So therefore, from that perspective, we need to start inculcating sports as a part and parcel of our family tradition, as a part of our society tradition, as a part of our school tradition, as a part of our college tradition. The reason is this: all these four major things, regular cardiovascular maintenance, metabolic maintenance, and musculoskeletal maintenance will be taken care of. The moment it is taken care of, your visit to the hospital cuts down. As a result of which, number one, you save on the healthcare. Number two, you don't put too much pressure on the healthcare system, which is very, very fragile at this point of time because we can't afford so much, because as a country we are like that. Now, coming to the second aspect, which is also a very crucial aspect, is the mental aspects of health. Today, the whole world looks at India from this aspect because we are one country. We have been able to handle Corona, COVID-19 kind of a situation fairly decently well. The reason is that as an organization, as a country, as a family, we are geared up to handle stress in a much, much better manner. But the other thing is also true. When you look at a place like where I stay, which is Bangalore, the suicidal rates are going up. Children are not able to handle small failures. Why? The reason is people are under tremendous stress to perform, to succeed. And with a lot of these game shows that are coming up in TVs, there is a lot of tremendous stress is built on the child. I think I went to school when I was 5.5 years old. But today we are talking about 2.5 years going to the school. Because you have to be competitive. That is what is being imbibed in all of us. Father and mother doesn't have time for the child. They can't understand the stress of the child. So as a result of which there is no communication. So today stress is a part and parcel of the family itself. So when the family is under stress, you can imagine what kind of communication will be happening, what kind of fights will be happening, what kind of issues will be happening, as a result of which the happiness quotient of the family comes down. Sports is a very important element in stress management because exactly the same thing is replicated in the field. When you are playing, you will be under stress because you are supposed to perform. People expect you to perform. You are expected to perform for your own self. Even if people don't expect you, yourself push yourself to the limit. As a result of which, there is a stress element that is built into it. But the beauty of sports is you will fail. The moment you fail, you don't give up. Again, you work around that and again come back. So this is what sports gives to you to handle stress. Today, people, when they fail, they give up. Sports helps you to handle stress in a very positive manner. So therefore, from a mental aspect, sports plays a very important role in building up a child's mind setup. Fail, 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 still you will succeed. That is what, in fact, there is a very interesting Subhashita which very clearly says in Sanskrit that the Uttama, the best person in this world is Vignehi Punaha Punaha Api Pratihanyamanaha Prarabdham Uttama Jana Naparityajanti. Our old people, in our old saying, it has been very clearly mentioned the best person in this world is the one who continues to strive again and again and again till he succeeds, irrespective of how many failures. That is our culture. That is what has been built into our system. But today we are seeing that going apart. So sports can play a very important role. Second important role is today all of us have become selfish. Me, my family, forget about it. Husband and wife itself, it is me and this is wife's. Forget about the child. So the ability to work in a team, the ability to accept the other person's deficiency or efficiency, the ability to supplement and complement, The ability to work together is slowly falling apart. In fact, last 3 weeks has been a fantastic, diverse news of some key people in the film industry. Two people in our old days, in our earlier generation, just one generation above us, my parents' generation, or even my generation at this point of time, we never even thought of it, because we have been taught, we have been told, and we have been groomed that every person has to work as a team because we were joint families. But today, when you look at people, we are not able to work together as a team. Sports plays a very important role in inculcating this team play attitude. The 10, 15 years that you play in the school, where you need to work with the other person, you need to pass the ball. Sometimes you are the hero, sometimes the other person is the hero. Some days are good for you, some days are bad for you. But as a team, you start playing for the team, you start playing for the school, you start playing for the district, you start playing for the state, you start playing for the country. So, this aspect of mental aspect is a very crucial thing in nation building, because the key factor every nation succeeds is because every person in that nation thinks about the country first, state next, district next, then comes his school or college, and then comes his own personal family. So this team play aspect is a very crucial aspect that sports plays an important role. Third one is the ability. I have already told you about the stress aspect. Success in any person's life is hardly 20%. 80% is failures. This is called, as in management, we call it as an 80-20 rule. Okay. 80% of your income comes from 20% of your customers. That means only 20% are successful. Remaining 80% of your customers are a failure. So the ability to accept failures and build on that and not run away from it is a crucial element in a human person's development. Sports plays a crucial role in developing this mind attitude, this mindset, and therefore, as a result of which, the person in the long run, even in the society, is able to accept failures and not be very, very negative about what is happening around him or what has happened to him, but taking it in the right perspective and starts building on it rather than losing heart. Then sports is also a very crucial this thing in creating positive atmosphere, because the small wins that you have on a daily basis or on a weekly basis or on a monthly basis or creates a lot of positivity in you, brings a lot of leadership styles in you, brings a lot of ability to handle uh, environments, and therefore you become a positive person instead of becoming a negative person. Because today, if you go to the world, many of them will only be cursing. "Ye nahi hai, wo nahi hai, aisa nahi hai, waisa nahi hai, this didn't happen, that didn't happen." Now, if you ask them, if you are in that position, how will you solve it? They have no solution. They will all say from behind. So this positivity in life is a crucial element. That's why in 2012 I happened to present this concept to people in Gujarat sports department, and incidentally, Prime Minister inaugurated my high performance center. I spent about 30-40 minutes with him. So I explained to him that science and sports are one and the same. They are not different. So that positivity message today is being carried with Kelo India coming in, 12 sports science centers coming in. There are a lot of things that has happened in sports. And as a result of which, today we are seeing more and more and more people engaged in, and India won quite, for the first time, we won a gold medal in athletics. It's a very big achievement. So these are all things which are surely and positively moving the country towards a positive state of affairs. Then comes a very important element, which is the social element. Sports brings people together. A very interesting example I will give is the cricket team of Bangalore, which is called Royal Challengers Bangalore. The team has never won the IPL. It has got fantastic players, a lot of things. But then, whenever a match is played in Bangalore, you should see the kind of crowd that comes in, the kind of enjoyment that they have, the social activities that happened around it. It's really fantastic. Okay, so therefore, for development of society, for development of people joining together, working together for a common cause, is sports plays a very important role, and it plays the role in such a subtle manner that people leave their inhibitions. Many great people, when they are in the office, when they are in the house, they are limited in their thought process, they are limited in their expressions. But when they are sitting in a stadium and watching a match, they are like a child. So I believe that the social aspect which WHO had set up is typically seen in a sports environment, in a society environment as far as sports is concerned. Many of us, all of us have limitations. Most all of us have limitations. So it's very difficult for us to understand our limitations because some of us have only successes. So as a result of which we don't see our limitations. Some of us have only failures. So therefore we don't see our strengths. Sports instantaneously in a society teaches you these are your limitations. This is how much you can go. This is how you can come back. This is where you can limit. Because all said and done, the very interesting graph that you should see is the 100 meters world record. In the initial first few Olympics, it used to be in terms of seconds. Then it became in terms of milliseconds. Now it has become in terms of nanoseconds because human beings have a limitation. You can't cross beyond that. So that is now slowly percolating that there is a limit to which you can push your this thing because there are certain limitations that are there in human beings as a result of which we will understand that and therefore we will live in a society in a harmony. We will not try to push limits and then create problems for ourselves and for others. Then another important aspect of sports which teaches the society is how to work with goals rather than working with in a haphazard manner without a target without. So in your life sports is a very small time frame, probably from 15 years to probably about 28, 30 maximum. Beyond that the body is completely damaged, the metabolism starts, cortisol drops, and as a result of which performance drops. So therefore in that short span of 15 years, how do you set yourself goals? What do I do this year? What do I do next year? Now, this teaches you effectively to plan for your life. In fact, many of the sports people would be very, very careful in terms of planning their life because they know that they have a very short span of income earning capabilities. The remaining 30 years, they don't have any income directly coming from sports. So, therefore, they need to plan with whatever money that they have, they need to plan their next 30 years. So, goal setting. Helps you to plan your life, plan your society, plan everything systematically. Handling failures, I have talked. Empathy. Now, always it's not success in sports that brings credit to you. Failures also bring sometimes credit because people know your potential, but due to some limitations at that point of time, you would have failed. So people appreciate the effort. People appreciate the way you have put in those extra hard miles. So therefore, you also understand that aspect of it. As a result of which, when somebody else fails or somebody else is not able to perform to his limit, whether it is studies, whether it is at home, whether it is at in the office, you can empathize with them and you can understand because you know at some point of time they will succeed. And together, what happens is, as I told you earlier, the sports becomes a very important tool in nation building. So, from my this is all my perspective. I'm open to correction. Okay. So, therefore, I will conclude. It's a very very simple this thing. Sports is a key component and has to be a key component in our daily life. Whether we want it or not, I think all of us should spend at least half an hour to 1 hour every day in playing something or the other. It helps you to de stress, it helps you physically, it helps you to mingle with others and play. So the social health aspect comes into picture, health aspect comes into picture, the physical health aspect comes into picture. So I believe, this is my personal belief, and I have seen this to be very successful wherever I have used sports as a tool, because I have a rehab center for autistic children who are most of them are at attention deficit. We use sports as a tool to calm them down. We use sports as a methodology of making them learn skills. So we use that for their mental health and social health and physical health aspect. So I believe sports is a very, very important primary tool to build the country, because India average age is about 28, 29 years of this thing. That's the average age of Indians. Now, India might grow very well at say 9%, 10%. But then at 28 and 29, if you start getting heart attacks, or at 35 you start getting heart attacks. Now the productive age of a human being is between 35 to 50, and during those 35 to 50, if you are sick, how much ever you have earned knowledge, how much ever you have capabilities, that doesn't get translated into a nation building or your own personal growth. So therefore I believe health is important, and sports is the cheapest and the fastest methodology of maintaining the WHO standard of physical, mental and social health. Thank you very much. So this was a very small presentation. Any questions that you have, I would be able to answer. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir, for this wonderful lecture.
Mm.
Uh, I would like to request Director sir for his comments.
No, it's wonderful. And you take the questions, Dr. Vandana,
Yeah.
from the viewers.
Okay,
Maybe
sir.
take 2-3 questions. It was very cute and best.
Small, sir. I told her also I will do a very small presentation. It will not be long.
Yes. Nowadays, 1 hour lecture, people don't have the patience.
No. Even technically, sir, what we have found is why school classes are only 40 minutes is because after 40 minutes, concentration levels drop.
Yeah. We take only 40 minutes only, not more than that. Okay. I agree with that.
Sir, there is a question in the comment section. You mentioned that you have some experience of effect of sports on autistic children. Sir,
Yeah.
is there any study on ADHD children or as well?
Yeah, I will explain two important concepts here. Attention deficit basically happens due to something called as vestibular stimulation. Okay, this is related to your spinal cord. So yoga plays a very important role in this, because it helps you to keep your spinal cord straight, and it helps you to also breathe in a very in a slow manner. So in attention deficit children, we are not able to make them sit and do this. So in our olden days, all our houses had swings. So if you sit and swing for, let us say, about 30 minutes, your vestibular stimulation happens, and after that I take you to a class, your attention deficit reduces substantially. You are able to concentrate. So any game that you make them play, which has got a hop, the other methodology that we use is trampoline. You jump on a trampoline for about 15-20 minutes, automatically the vestibular stimulation happens, and therefore you are able to concentrate. Now this is a very important tool that we use in autism, because autistic children's attention deficit is very, very high. They can't sit in a place for some time. So in order to teach them and make them learn small, very mundane things, we use this as a tool to ensure that. So we take them to do certain kind of sports which has got this vestibular stimulation in place. Particularly, we take them to the park, where we make them sit on the swing and swing for quite some time, or we make them run on a sand, which actually creates the stimulation. So this is how it happens. You are muted.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for this insightful lecture, and thank you so much for accepting our invitation. From my side,
Basavaraddi sir knows me very well. So when
No,
anytime I would love to come and do certain aspects of these kind of things. I would love to bring somewhere our Bhagavad Gita into, because I know that very well. I have done a study on science and Bhagavad Gita. It
Yes.
goes very well. So I think one of the aspects that I want to bring whenever possible, give me a chance, is to teach people that our ancient Bhagavad Gita is full of science, and we are only rediscovering it. There is nothing that new that we are learning in our modern science. Okay, thank you very much.
Sreedharanji, we will be in touch with, and after this also I will call you.
Sure, sir.
And because we have taken up that automation system and other things also. So
Sure, sir.
I will continue that as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. I would also like to thank Director of Morarji Desai National Institute of Yoga, Dr. Ishwar Basavaraddi, sir, for taking out time from his busy schedule. Thank you so much, sir. I would also like to thank Communication and Documentation Officer of MDNIY, Mohammad Tayyib Alam, sir, for his help and support. Thank you, sir. Thanks to our technical teams and all the viewers who have joined us today. आप सभी को मेरा बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद और कार्यक्रम का समापन शांति पाठ के साथ। ओम सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामया सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। Thank you so much, sir. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.